I recently replaced a faulty bathroom tap and waste trap, and here are some of the tips and tools I found useful. First, I needed to remove the old tap, and I turned off the water through the isolation valves here. So these particular ones are Speedfit, but you likely have something similar. In the UK, taps are usually secured with a nut on an M8 bolt. Now, getting a spanner into here is really difficult, and I didn't have a tap spanner. They're not expensive though, about £10, but I decided to try designing one and 3D printing it myself. I was quite curious to see how PLA held up when used as a tool, and it actually worked really well. I've published my design on MakerWorld if you want to try it. There's a hole at the bottom of the handle that allows you to put a hex key through it if you need extra leverage, and I did when I was removing mine. After I'd undone that bolt, getting the pipes out of the push-fit valves was the next thing I needed to do. It was actually quite difficult. They'd seized up over the 15 years that this had been installed. I didn't have a tool to do this, so I ended up creating another design. This one kind of clips over the pipe and then provides me much more surface area where I can push down and get that collar from the push-fit valve down. That also worked really well, and I didn't have any concerns around the strength of the part. Next, I removed the old waste trap. There were no real problems there, but what I did find handy was this tool. It's kind of got this rubber band, and you wrap it round and it'll help unscrew any stubborn fixings. Fitting the new waste trap was easy and required no tools, just tightened it up by hand. It was relatively cheap from Toolstation too, coming in at just over £12. Now the reviews on this were really good, which was one of the reasons that swayed me to this particular one. Even if it only lasts 5 years, I could just get another one and pop that in quite easily. However, once that waste trap was in place, there was about a 2 centimetre difference from the old drain to the tailpiece that comes out of the S-trap. I was thinking I needed some kind of extension and did a lot of searching, but eventually I actually found that it's built into the S-trap. Now if you unscrew this nut here, that releases this pipe and lets it extend. So I had enough pipe in there to let me use the existing fittings. Once it was extended, I just pulled down the rubber seal and screwed the nut back up. That meant that the pipe from the S-trap was properly aligned with the screw thread of the waste trap, and that means you're not going to get any leaks. Now, most new taps come with flexible tails that end in a half BSP connection. My problem was that the isolation valve was for push-fit pipes, like those copper ones that were on my previous taps, so I needed some kind of adapter. I did do quite a lot of searching. You need to find a stem adapter that has a flat top on the threads. Otherwise, if it's quite sharp on the threads there, it's going to dig into any washer that's on the flexible tail end. I did find this one, which looked about right, and did have a flat top to it, and I pushed it in securely into that Speedfit isolation valve, and that went in without an issue. But when I attached the half BSP connection to it and screwed that on, it leaked. Out of desperation, I tried some PTFE tape, and that made no difference. It was still leaking. And what I eventually realised was that if you look at the washer on the BSP connection here, the metal on the pipe is touching the plastic on the stem adapter. What I did to solve this is add an extra rubber washer into that BSP connection over the other one, and that fixed the problem. Fixing the new taps in place was easy, but I needed a slightly different size tap spanner. This one could be slightly shorter than the other one because these flexible tails can just be pushed out of the way and don't cause an obstruction like the copper pipes on the old one. The new tap is in and I'm really happy with it. It works really well on the low pressure system that I've got here that has gravity fed hot water. The flow rate's pretty good and everything I've fitted seems to be holding up well. I'm by no means an expert in this area. This was one of the first plumbing jobs that I've ever done, but I'm quite happy with it all. Let me know in the comments if you've got any questions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.